Hey everybody, and welcome to Paper Crafting with Tammy. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. It is awesome to see you here. I have a great project for us today that we're going to start on in just a minute. If you haven't done it yet, take a minute and hit that big red subscribe button so you see what else I've got for you next time, and let's get started. Hey paper crafting friends, welcome back. I've got something a little bit different for you today, but I just am so excited about this new set that I have to share. So a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to design a class for Hedgehog Hollow Days, which was a really cool ticketed event. People purchased their online admission. Lots of different designers created projects, and then people got to watch along and create over the weekend. And there was a supply box that people could purchase, and I was really excited to be a part of it. So one of the things that I got to do for them was model one of their really neat watercolor techniques with some stamps. And not long after, I purchased this set to add to my collection. And this one is this really gorgeous kind of outdoor set. It's got this buck on it. There's several trees in the background. And I just thought, oh, I have to share this technique. And maybe you have done this before, maybe you haven't, but watch along and I'll share a little bit with you about this particular style of stamp. And you can transfer this technique to some other stamps that you have, I'm sure, especially anything that has a nice kind of bold image. So I will tell you, when I first got this out today, I panicked for a minute because I do not have any stamp blocks, like acrylic blocks, that are big enough for this. And my Stamparatus is not big enough either. I have not moved to like a larger MISTI. So I panicked for a moment, and then I thought, oh, I think I'm all right. I'll just flip it over and put the paper on top of it. So as we learn and grow, right? So this is that stamp. It's got an overlay on it. I'm just going to leave it because it's actually fine. So let me pull this off and flip that over. So the idea with this method is that you apply your ink directly to the stamp, and then we're going to moisten it a bit. So I've got a little mini mister here so that I can moisten it. And the paper that I'm going to use is Ken Oliver watercolor paper. And if you fall in love with this stamp, they're available at makerforte.com. So let's get started. So as I take a look at this stamp, one of the first things that I think about is kind of this grassy area here at the bottom. And I'm thinking about this as kind of being something that I would maybe want to share with a friend who likes to hunt or just really likes to get outdoors. And this would be the time of year that people would be out looking for that buck. So I want this to be a little bit more fall. And so I don't want all this grass down here to be green. I want to pull in a little bit of kind of a lighter color so that it looks like that grass, some of it is dried. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I decided to go ahead and pull that film off because I don't want this to be slip sliding around, and that film was just letting it move too much. So I've got these little tiny Tim Holtz Distress inks. So I'm going to start with some scattered straw, and I'm just going to tap that down here on the bottom. And I'm still going to touch in a little bit of green as well. This one is peeled paint. So I don't really want the peeled paint everywhere, but I do want some touches. And then to hit those trees, I'm going to use forest moss. And I want to really hit those evergreen trees with this. Kind of highlight those beautiful trees that we get. I live in Southern Oregon, and this time of year, I'm telling you, it is fabulous. So let's get those trees kind of inked up. For that buck, I'm going to go with Vintage Photo. And keep in mind, these colors are absolutely going to overlap. There is no perfect way to do this. I'm not even trying. I don't want it to look perfect, and you'll see why when you see the kind of result when I pull this back. I am hitting a couple of those tree trunks with this Vintage Photo, and then I'm going to go back over and just make sure I caught all of these trees that are around this buck. And then I'm going to use black soot just to create kind of a frame around this. So I'm just hitting this outer edge. You could pick whatever color you want for this, of course. So lots of flexibility here. I used a similar set that was really just the trees. It was a stamp that I was sent for participating in this class. And I did it with some turquoises and purples, and it turned out really beautiful. It's kind of a winter, it just has a winter feel to it. Alrighty, so I think that we are ready. I'm just gonna double check this lower area one last time. And here comes the magic. So this is where you spritz this stamp, and you want it to be wet enough that that ink is definitely wet, kind of starting to pool a little bit. Okay, because what we're creating here is like a watercolor technique, and I'm using watercolor paper, so it'll soak it up. I'm going to take the rough side of my watercolor, and I'm going to lay that down. Because this is upside down, I don't know if I'm getting it perfectly centered on there, but that's okay. I can trim it after. I'll lay it down, give it a gentle press, hoping I'm not getting so deep that I'm getting down to the excess. I'm going to pull that up. Okay, and there we go. So I'm going to let that sit and kind of soak in a bit. Okay. But that gives you an idea of how that technique comes together. Well, I decided to go ahead and go for it, but it turned out that I did not have the camera on when I was showing you how this was going to work. So I'm just going to do a quick recap. I had attached this stencil, kind of like a mask, over the top, and I had held that down with some Post-it tape. I used a couple of blending brushes. So I had weathered wood, and I did the top portion of this, and I really just kind of went for a bit of a blotchy look, kind of wanting it to look like a fall day, you know, out in the woods. So a little bit of a blue, gray sky, kind of blotchy, maybe clouds gathering for a pending storm. And then I wanted to stay in the Browns family for this lower part. So it just kind of looked like you were looking off into the distance. So I pulled in this frayed burlap and just used the blending brush and added that frayed burlap down at the lower portion. So this is how that ended up turning out. And there's a couple of little spots where I might shift the stencil and hit them a little bit better, but I really think that that is just a gorgeous scene. It looks like it's hand painted. That is really exciting to me, and just love the look of all of those different colors on there. So I wanted to show you, it did turn out a little bit differently. So remember, this is a watercolor paper. So that's that Ken Oliver watercolor paper. This is just a piece of white daisy cardstock from Close to My Heart. And this was what I had tried before I ever started rolling camera today. And I think that this image, you know, it just looks so different, right? It still looks watercolored, but it doesn't have that bleed that the watercolor paper has. So this image looks a little bit more crisp, but still watercolored. So it really just kind of depends on what look you're going for. Really very different. So if you look at those side by side, the difference between the watercolor versus just a plain white cardstock, it's got a very different feel to it. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to do was just remind you, if this is something that you're interested in, the website is Maker Forte. So it's MakerForte.com. They have a lot of really great things. And the company really has amazing customer service and stuff. So I'm happy to give them a shout out. If there's anything that you're looking for, check it out there. Just some really creative, fun products. So anyway, I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I really appreciate you popping in to join me for this video today. And I hope to see you on my channel again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.